Barbarians are incredibly fun to play in Baldur's Gate 3. Sprinkle in some fighter multi-classing and it gets even better. Here's my favorite build for that particular combination. Now, both race and background obviously play a role when it comes to any character build. It has to be said though that the impact usually is marginal. Since respecing companions or your own character does not allow to change either race or background, I will be focusing on the class build itself, which means it can be applied to any character. I'm kicking things off with a Barbarian in order to unlock Rage first. For me, Rage is primarily interesting for the physical resistance and the extra damage with melee attacks. The added benefits when throwing something or when encountering strength checks or saving throws still apply as well though, of course. Unarmored defense is irrelevant for me as I do actually wear armor. Due to the rage penalties when wearing heavy armor though, I stick to medium armor considering how vital rage is for the entire build. When it comes to the abilities, I want to make sure to not leave any points wasted. Because of that, I aim for even numbers everywhere, since uneven numbers cost ability points but don't change any bonus modifiers. Strength is the primary ability for both Barbarian and Fighter, which means I push this to 16 right away at start. Aside from influencing my hit chance and my damage with strength-based weapons, it also allows me to jump further and carry more. Next up is Dexterity at 14. This is to reach +2 on the ability modifier, which is the maximum bonus that still gets applied to armor class when wearing medium armor. Furthermore, it increases the initiative bonus modifier to better my chances of going early during a fight. Expecting to take a lot of damage, I then also push Constitution to 16, primarily to increase my overall health points. The remaining ability points could be put anywhere, but personally I keep them in Wisdom because Wisdom saving throws are more relevant in combat than Charisma or Intelligence saving throws. In terms of skill proficiencies, I focus on Athletics and Acrobatics, both of them further boosted by bonus modifiers from Strength and Dexterity. As my third proficiency, I pick Perception, since this can increase my chances to notice things throughout the world. Also, it is somewhat supported by having Wisdom 12, which at least still grants a +1 bonus modifier. At level 2, I stick with Barbarian. Next to additional health points like every level up, this grants Danger Sense, which is useful during exploration and when traversing difficult terrain during combat. More important here though is Reckless Attack, which is a key piece of the entire build puzzle. Reckless Attack allows me to have advantage on attack whenever I want. This includes any future attacks in the same turn as well. It is important to note though that using it also grants advantage to enemies against me. So it does come with a downside, but a downside that I can decide when to accept. At level 3, I unlock the Barbarian subclass. It also comes with an additional rage charge and a permanent Speak with Animals spell, which is incredibly useful outside of combat. The important thing at this level is a subclass though. I personally stick with Wild Heart, which is needed as well to keep the Speak with Animals spell. Berserker would put me on a more frenzied path, and Wild Magic adds an element of randomness whenever Rage is used. For the Wild Heart subclass in particular, another choice has to be made at this point, and that is the Bestial Heart. A total of 5 options are at my disposal here, each of them offering a unique direction of where to take the character's playstyle. Bearheart offers resistance to all damage except psychic damage and a self-heal to boost my survivability even further during combat. Unrelenting Ferocity can be useful, but personally I dislike that it requires an action rather than a bonus action. Eagleheart allows me to attack enemies from above, adding additional movability as well as a chance to knock my enemy prone. Dash as a bonus action is the primary value added here, but Diving Strike can be quite fun to use as well. Elkhart gives the opportunity to charge at enemies while also adding a flat 4.5 meter bonus to the total movement speed. It is a good alternative to Eagleheart that offers a less but permanent bonus as well as an action that usually can be used more often than Diving Strike. It is important to note as well that Primal Stampede does not provoke opportunity attacks. This makes it possible to charge at enemies even if other enemies are standing close by. Tigerheart is focused on extra damage by adding a bleed attack against up to 3 targets. The increased jump distance can be useful as well, since a 4.5 meter jump distance sometimes can be a lot more than just 4.5 meter extra movement speed. Wolfheart is especially good for melee focus groups that stand close together. It gives allies advantage on attack rolls when not further away than 2 meters, and Inciting Howl grants 3 meter movement speed next turn to everyone within earshot. Now, personally, I really like Eagle Heart. Dash as a bonus action is very useful, and Diving Strike can be so fun to play with. Having said that though, I do prefer Elk Heart here. To really leverage Eagle Heart, I would want to use my bonus action for dash quite often. This would block me from using my free bonus action attack whenever the Great Weapon Master feat triggers. That feat though is another key piece that I will choose very soon. So my choice is definitely Elk Heart with its flat movement bonus here. At level 4 I get the first feat. Ability improvement could be a solid choice here by simply increasing strength 2 times, but before doing that I first pick Great Weapon Master. This changes the playstyle a lot more by offering valuable bonuses that a flat strength increase would not. The first thing Great Weapon Master is good for is the additional bonus attack after a crit or a kill. That is one of the reasons I prefer Elk over Eagle as Bestial Heart, because its movement bonus does not require the use of a bonus action, so there is no risk of having to sacrifice one over another in a turn. Next is the plus 10 damage increase on every successful hit. This is a massive bonus, and the advantage when using Reckless Attack increases the chances to actually connect. It has to be noted though that a plus 10 damage comes with a price. Every attack roll receives a -5 penalty, so it decreases the hit chance in general. The damage and penalty part of the feat can be toggled on and off though, so whenever the hit chance becomes too low, it can simply be deactivated. The same is true if the damage bonus isn't needed, because the enemy is likely to die from a regular attack anyway. At level 5, I unlock the extra attack that other classes like Fighter or Paladin get as well. This doesn't stack though, so it cannot be unlocked more than once through multiclassing. Level 5 also grants a flat plus 3 meter movement bonus. As mentioned earlier, I only opt for medium armor, not heavy armor, so the bonus still applies. At level 6, I switch to Fighter. The reason here is that the bonuses from the early levels of Fighter are deemed more significant than the remaining Barbarian bonuses I plan on getting later. Fighter at 1 grants Second Wind, which is a bonus action self-heal. This is less important, especially since I prefer to use my bonus action for another attack via the Great Weapon Master feat. But whenever a bit more health is needed, this does of course provide another option. Usually, it is no problem to have enough health potions either though. More importantly here is the fighting style. Archery improves ranged weapon attacks. Defense increases armor class for more protection. Dueling gives a damage boost with one weapon while not holding another weapon in the other hand. Great weapon fighting makes damage rolls with two-handed weapons more consistent by re-rolling a 1 or 2. Protection can help to protect allies by forcing disadvantage on attackers close to me. And two-weapon fighting allows adding the ability modifier for the offhand weapon as additional damage when attacking with that weapon. Now I'm obviously choosing great weapon fighting here because it synergizes with the Great Weapon Master feat that was already chosen earlier. At level 7, I stick with Fighter to unlock Action Surge. This means free extra actions whenever I need it. It can be replenished with a short rest and allows more control during fights. For example, using Action Surge might be the difference between killing or not killing an enemy. And if I didn't land a critical hit yet or killed an enemy during my turn already, I would also get another free attack as a bonus action due to the kill that only Action Surge made possible this turn. At level 8, I unlock the Fighter subclass because my Fighter level reaches 3. Same as the Barbarian, there are 3 options, but only 2 are really interesting for me in this build. Battlemaster unlocks additional options for attacks and reactions during battle. This is a great choice when a bit more control and decision making is desired. Eldritch Knight opens up spellcasting for fighters, and there are lots of great ways to benefit from that. For me here, this is not relevant though. Champion is the most straightforward choice, as it doesn't add new things to choose from. Instead, it simply increases the chance for critical hits as a passive bonus. Choosing this is absolutely viable, but personally I like the additional choices from the Battlemaster maneuvers. Commander Strike can be interesting in a melee-heavy group, where it's more likely to have a melee-focused ally close to an enemy. Disarming Attack is great against enemies that actually hold weapons, but it's too circumstantial in my opinion. Distracting Strike is a good way of supporting other damage-focused allies because they are more likely to attack successfully. Evasive Footworks gives a bit more survivability, but personally I do prefer the damage-focused maneuvers here. Fainting Attack is a no-go in this build. For one, it uses up the bonus action I need for my extra attacks via the Great Weapon Master feat, but on top of that, it also grants advantage which I already have access to via Reckless Attack whenever I want to. Goading Attack is great to keep enemies focused on my character. It helps protect my allies, and it synergizes to some degree with riposte because I'm getting attacked more often. It does use up superiority dice faster as well though than a more reaction-focused approach. Maneuvering attack is a powerful way of granting additional movement speed to an ally, and more importantly, to allow the ally to move away from enemies without causing opportunity attacks. Especially ranged characters can benefit via getting rid of the threatened status effect. Menacing attack is definitely a viable choice because of the possibility of applying Frighten. An enemy that can't move is on its own already a quite powerful effect, let alone the added benefits. Precision attack is a no-go, since reckless attack already offers a way of increasing hit chance, which can be further increased by spells and alls if needed. Pushing attack can be awesome if I simultaneously push someone off a high ground for extra damage. Combined with diving strike from Eagleheart, it would get even better. But this is all incredibly circumstantial and rare to set up like this, so overall not something I would pick here. Rally can of course make the difference in a particular situation, but overall I don't see this a viable choice. Especially since temporary hit points cannot be combined from multiple sources, and there are other ways of getting temporary hit points in the game. Riposte is incredibly interesting in my opinion, because it allows for an additional attack outside of my turn. With medium armor and other ways of boosting armor class further, enemies usually do miss more often than they move away to allow for an opportunity attack. Riposte increases the chance to not waste the one reaction available per turn. A total of 4 superiority dice that replenish with a short rest also means this isn't something that only triggers once every long rest. Sweeping attack could be a good way of adding some area damage, especially if the weapon of choice doesn't come with it already. It only seems to do 1 to 8 damage though, without any weapon damage on top, which makes it less interesting for me. Trip attack can be a viable choice too, especially in a fighter focused build that doesn't unlock the opportunity to knock enemies prone already. Since for me that's the case via Primal Stampede from the Barbarian already though, I wouldn't choose it in this build here. Now personally, I really do like Riposte to boost my reactions by attacking outside my own turn more often. So I choose Riposte here and add Goading Attack and Maneuvering Attack to flexibly help out an ally in need. At level 9, it is an easy +2 strength to boost the primary ability. This means improved hit chance, extra damage, and increased jump distance as well as carrying capacity. At level 10, I would have picked another level of fighter if the extra attack from multiple classes would stack. But since that isn't the case, I stay at Fighter 4 and go back to the Barbarian here. Barbarian 6 grants another rage charge and 1 animal aspect. The latter allows for some extra utility without heavily impacting the build overall though. Bear doubles carrying capacity, which is mostly a convenience thing, and the need for it can be circumvented through proper inventory management already, so it's mostly the advantage on strength checks. During combat, this advantage is already present from rage as well though, making this aspect even less interesting. Chimpanzee is a bit better here with resistance against falling damage and the option to throw camp supplies in order to blind enemies. Actions during combat are ideally used much more efficiently though, so I personally stay away from this one too. Crocodile is great when it comes to water-based surfaces, giving more movement speed and a bonus to avoid being knocked prone on something like an ice surface. With a cold-heavy wizard in the group or regular usage of water, this can be a decent option, but might otherwise be too circumstantial. Eagle is a solid choice in general. Advantage on perception checks can be helpful with many things, and dark vision up to 12 meters is obviously useful, unless it's already granted from race choice or via other means. Elk is a solid choice as well, boosting the movement speed of my character by 1.5 meters and potentially even benefiting other party members. This can have a real impact in combat as well. Honey Badger is very situational, and usually rage charges are not a resource that are a problem, so overall I don't see this as a relevant option. Stallion can be great, probably more so with Eagleheart though, where the use of dash is much more likely to happen on a regular basis. Also, it is important to remember that temporary hit points are limited to one source only. Tiger is amazing when picking Tigerheart as well, because it gives guaranteed damage on every attack as long as bleeding was applied. With a different heart though, this only makes sense with a means of applying either bleeding or poison somewhat consistently. Wolf can be quite good if the Barbarian is played a little bit differently. For this build here, it is less useful because the playstyle is a lot more straightforward and less focused around sneaky approaches. It has to be said though that stealth obviously always is something to look out for in case it can provide means for advantage or even to surprise enemies when a fight is triggered. Wolverine is another option that goes well with Tigerheart for example, but is less interesting with Elkheart unless an item or spell is used to ensure constant bleeding or poison. So for me, this is a somewhat easy choice with Elk, because the potential group-wide 1.5 meter movement bonus is a quite versatile benefit that can result in lots of different advantageous options. At level 11, Feral Instinct grants +3 initiative as well as protection against being surprised. Both are things I would have liked to have much earlier, but the bonuses from Fighter are even more powerful to me, which makes it necessary to wait for the initiative boost until close to max level. At level 12 then, I get some additional movement support on difficult terrain, but more importantly also receive the last feat. For me personally, this is another easy +2 strength for the flat bonus across the board. It wouldn't be completely out of place though to pick Savage Attacker here in order to more consistently get higher rolls when it comes to damage. But I still think that the ability improvement is the better option overall. Now, let's get into some action and see how it can look like when playing this build. What you see here is me going solo into a Tactician difficulty fight with 5 wolves and werewolves at level 11 and 12. The wolves are further aided by a bunch of level 1 critters. I start by activating Rage and then go straight for the kill by charging into one of the groups. This kills 1 rat and knocks 2 larger enemies prone. I don't use Action Surge here because my bonus action this turn is used up by Rage already, so any bonus attack from the Great Weapon Master feat couldn't be used anyway. Instead, I just briefly evaluate what wolf to attack further and then deal a bunch of damage with a regular hit before ending my turn. Then it's time for the 13 enemies left to come close and attack, but one of them misses and my Ripper's attack comes into play as planned, allowing me to deal the significant damage outside my own turn. This leaves me with 3 superiority dice left for maneuvers during this fight. After taking a bit of damage, I see another opportunity to use Primal Stampede somewhat effectively. Despite its low damage, it can still kill some of the critter stuff, and I also have 2 larger enemies quite low already. With a successful charge, I kill 7 out of the 8 remaining critters and knock the wolves prone again. I then kill 1 wolf and use my free bonus attack from the Great Weapon Master feat to deal even more damage. Confident to kill another enemy this turn with 2 more attacks, I activate Action Surge and reduce the enemies to 4 in total. After taking some minimal damage, I use Primal Stampede again, killing the last critter and knocking the wolves prone. Unfortunately, my second attack isn't enough to finish another enemy to unlock the free bonus attack. Saving Action Surge last turn despite having 1 more enemy that attacks me might have been better after all. At least I do get to deal even more damage outside of my turn though, due to the wolf missing me. At the end, I did lose concentration a bit when forgetting the werewolves have immunity against bludgeoning. So just doing a bit of damage to the white wolf was a waste of my action here, even if all 3 are knocked prone again. I still managed to kill 1 werewolf though to unlock my free bonus attack from the Great Weapon Master feat. This then also allowed me to kill the white wolf this turn as well. During the final duel, I get to deal damage via riposte outside my own turn once more, setting the werewolf up to get finished as soon as I'm able to attack again. So in the end, this was a fight that never got difficult and showcased some of the synergies and overall potential of the build. And that's it for today. Overall, this is a great build for anyone that wants to use heavy weapons and get up close to bash some skulls in. Personally, I really like playing it, and I hope that some of you out there will enjoy it as well. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite playstyle is, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future. See you on Baldur's Gate 3.